Hey, what do you know? I'm doing an extra stream. Yay! Gotta do my usual test to make sure I hear everything. So, probably gonna hear double sound, but. Probably gonna hear double sound, but. Okay, so we got game sound, we got my sound. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to deal with the fan sounds because it's still hotter than hell. Um, Not super hot like it's been the last couple days where I've just been dying and melting. I'm gonna turn the game sound down a little bit because that music is still a little bit too loud. There we go. Now I can actually hear myself. But yeah, it's been kind of hot, so I haven't really been doing much. But yeah, I'm doing an extra stream. This is a game called The Roottrees Are Dead. It's more of a thinking puzzle game. There's not really like fighting or anything. I will put a little disclaimer out. I have played the like OG version of this when it was a free to play game that was on itch.io. I played it. I had a lot of fun with it. There was a lot of thinking involved. But then they did a remake of it and re-released it, and I got it a while ago, and I just haven't had the chance to sit down and actually play it because I've been doing all my other games. But I figured today it's not oppressively hot. It's only 87. It's been like over 100 the last couple days, and I've just been dying. So I decided I will go ahead and bust this out, and we can play a little bit with that. And yeah, we're gonna go hop on into it. So if I do know a few things about this game ahead of time, it is because I have played it before, but I know that they have changed some things. But this kind of tells you the premise of the story. What happened? Plane crashed near Pittsburgh. The only passengers were Carl Roottree, his wife Brenda, and their three daughters known as the Roottrees sisters. They own the Roottree Candy Company. But yeah, you're pretty much piecing together the family tree because of issues with inheritance. So we are going to start a new game. So once we finish it, I have not done this extra part because this is extra for the remade version of the game. But we're gonna do the original one, and it's like 90s sort of thing. So like it's all like old school looking up stuff. So vintage loading sounds. December 6th, 1990.
The plane that crashed last night just outside of Pittsburgh is now known to have been the private jet of the Rootree Corporation. Local aviation
That is a
authorities
bit
have
loud. I'll
speculated
turn it
based on the
down
pilot's final
after.
communication that the winter storm and heavy winds played a significant role in the crash. On board were multiple family members, including corporate president Carl Rootree and his daughters, the Rootree sisters, best known for their fashion lines and modeling careers. There were no survivors. Again, for those of you just joining us, the Roottrees are dead.
Okay. First, we're gonna do this.
I know it's late, but I'm guessing you've seen the news. In addition to dealing with the grief, the Roottree company's
I love
lawyers
how
are
it doesn't
scrambling.
stop when we're changing settings. Okay, I'm gonna turn the speech volume down a little bit too. Okay, so the Roottrees company's lawyers are scrambling.
Everything's about to change. Anyone proven to be a blood relative is about to get much richer. I'm here to ensure everyone is accounted for. I've heard you're an expert at sorting out complicated family trees. A genealogy genie, as it were. I'm going to give you a quick test. Pass, and I can promise you the job of a lifetime.
Complete the family tree of the Roottrees sisters. Siblings are in birth order, oldest to youngest. Examine evidence, search the internet for clue, fill in the names, fill in the occupations, fill in the photos. Okay. So this is the sisters. And then you click on them to get the pictures. The person who hired you gave you this photo with a note attached. This was taken during the shoot for the Roottrees Sisters Got Milk ad. I've tracked down a test photo from before they painted the fake mustaches on, which I thought would be more appropriate considering the circumstances. The ad's copy reads, "You may recognize our faces from the magazine you're reading, or you might recognize our name from the candy bar you're eating. Being a root tree is a full-time job, but so is growing up. That's why the calcium found in milk is so important. Plus, you can't make chocolate without it." This list was provided by a mysterious person shows the door. You'll need it to fill in the family tree. Okay, so there's quite a few root trees. So let's find out which ones are the sisters. I love it. It has been a while since I played this, so there's a lot that some I might remember, but there's a lot that I don't remember. Spider search. So. Roottrees Sisters. Roottrees Sisters career. Fan site similarly curated by a teenager as Neon Pink Test. Raina is the most famous because she's the oldest and got married to TMS, but Riley is the smart one. Rose is a middle child like me. Okay. Copy. Actually, we'll highlight that as... Can I highlight that as well? Highlight. You might think they are rich because they are models, but their dad... Okay, so that's important. They do the modeling for her brand, Root. I eat root tree candy all the time. My favorite are Maple Crisps, and I try to dress in plaid root clothes like Riley does in most of the posters. Someday I want to get my ears pierced like Rose. Okay. Okay, so Rose is the middle child, and Rose has ear piercings. So she's the only one with the ear piercings, so she must be Rose. Okay. Rose is not on this list, which means she probably has a different first name. Okay. So the oldest one, Riley is the youngest one, and she wears plaid. So she's the one wearing plaid. So this one should be you, and then this one should be you. Raina's the oldest. So she's Raina. And then you would be Riley. Okay. So we need to look up Rose. Rose Roottrees is not as popular as her older sister Raina, but still very well known. Watching Rose by Rose by herself don't lead to anything different than searching for the sisters. So let's look up the clothing line. Root, the period is part of the name, is a clothing company. They make clothes for children, from toddlers to teenagers. Their website's down. Catalogs, magazines, and posters. Riley, Rose, or Raina. Root has released 2 catalogs per year every year since 1984, and Raina has appeared on almost all of them. Brenda Rootree, the Rootree sister mother of Root's head designer, appeared on cover holding her daughter Rose in '85. Only time her daughter was ever listed with her birth name, Carly Rootree. Okay. So she is Carly. So are they all models? Was the question. Correct. This is what I like, is once you get them right, it locks them so you can't change them. So you can't accidentally mess something up. Booyah. So we passed the
Sorry
test,
to
right?
test you, but I had to be sure you could use the internet.
Well,
Some
Tarja
folks
bug
refuse to get
in
with
the
the
chat.
times. Safe to say, you're hired. The reward for untangling the family tree is substantial. Life-changing, even. But here's the catch. The Roottrees go way, way back. The family tree's a bit daunting. Most people freak out the first time they see the whole thing. But I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yes, I'm doing this voluntarily.
The man who started it was particular about whom he considered family. For your purposes, you only need his direct blood relatives.
So ones that aren't blood relatives don't
Anyone
count.
related only by marriage is optional. But filling them in can lead to useful discoveries.
I'm going to fill the whole thing in.
Lastly, you now have access to some unique websites, plus a list of notable Roottrees.
Ooh, we got some stuff.
Notable people are easy to find via your search engine, and marked with stars on the family tree. I'm off for now. Carl Roottree had a lot in his office. I'll look for anything useful. I'll return once you identify 6 more blood relatives.
Okie dokie. Hello?
Sorry, one last thing. This might sound odd, but if anyone else claiming to represent the Rootrees reaches out, I'd appreciate you not mentioning I was here.
I don't even
Thank
know
you,
your
and
name.
good luck.
Okay, so the stars are the ones that are easy to find information of. So those are going to be the ones that we start with. Every time you get 3 additional blood relatives in the family tree completely correct, name, occupation, and portrait, they will be locked in. All non-blood relatives and small portraits are optional, but placing them in the tree helps remove extra names and photos. So, this is a massive tree. But we're going to go back to here. So, Raina was married. So, what was her name again? Notebook. We could delete that one. We don't need that in that one. Riley's the oldest and got married to TMS, or Raina. So we're going to look up Raina. So that doesn't bring up anything extra, but let's look up TMS. TMS is a common abbreviation for early 90s teen heartthrob Tommy Mark Sheridan. His first credited role as Thomas Sheridan was on a soap opera called As Time Marches Onward. He's to popularity after a starring role in sitcom Brother Trouble. Since the end of Brother Trouble, he's often on the cover of tabloids for his supposed drug use, and more recently his relationship with Rita Roottrees. After a short engagement, they were married in 1997 when she was only 19 and he was 23. So we're gonna look up that. And so we'll look at periodicals. Search periodicals. So let's see, what periodicals do we have? Can we just search by name? Gossip? Well, we can go to this. 'Cause that is... Maybe it's under Thomas Sheridan. So let's look up Thomas Sheridan. Okay. Oh, it's just... Okay, so that's not really finding anything. Maybe... Because there's another picture of her somewhere. Maybe Raina Sheridan? Okay. So their mom, Brenda, is a fashion designer, so... Okay, so let's look up Brenda Roottrees. Okay, let's click out that. So get the Roottrees sisters: Carl Roottrees, Elias and Gwyneth Roottrees, Gwyn, Red, Jim, Lauren, and Miracle Jr. So those are the ones that are going to be easy to find online. 5 pieces aimed at kids from the magazine Teen Blast. Original creator had 5 children. Okay, intuition. How many clues are connected to a specific piece of evidence? Shadow figure at the door. Alright, so we're gonna look up Brenda Roottrees. It throws me off because one of the sounds like a door opening and closing, and I'm like, am I gonna get murdered from behind? Auction black and blue dress, that's a Brenda White original. Auction shows a vintage dress from before Brenda became Brenda Roottrees and started designing clothes for Root. Okay, so Brenda White. So this is gonna be Brenda White. Unknown occupation, and she... fashion designer. Would she count as a CEO? Okay, let's look at our notes real quick. Fashion designer. Okay, so we can get rid of this one. So let's look up Roottrees candies. Actually, let's look up Brenda White. Alright. Roots head designer. Was designer an option? No. Okay. So we're gonna look at Roottrees. Yep. A lot of results. So the company was founded by Elias and Gwyneth. Okay. Let's get rid of this for a second. Okay, so Elias and Gwyneth. And that's... Okay, so there's two different Gwyneths. So we're not sure which one. Okay, so let's change directions here. Instead of looking up their mother, let's look up Elias Roottrees. Okay, so it sounds like something printed out. Propaganda site. Picture of him and Gwyneth. With credit for under 5 pieces, popular maple candy. Before that, the farm he inherited by marrying his wife only produced syrup. Wildly successful, ballistic and syrup. Any child linked by blood to me shall be linked by blood to my legacy. Family man, a Roottrees legacy of Bess Williams. Like his great-grandson Carl. So one of his great-grandsons is named Carl. I'm going to highlight that. Okay, so let's pop their pictures in. That's Gwyneth. That's Elias. CEO? Watchman of the Year. Wait, maybe he's not CEO. Maybe he's Watchman? Alright, we'll leave him as CEO for now, but that might not be correct. So we need to look up her. Let's look up her specifically. First, Anderson Maple Farm. Okay. So Gwyneth, so her name is Gwyneth Anderson. She had no brothers, so was the oldest sister. She was set to inherit the farm as long as she was married. The farm produced milk syrup. Rootree Candy Company expanded well beyond the original farm. Tourist attraction. Housewife. So she was a housewife. Okay, so that gets those. You can only open this envelope if the whole family tree is filled in. The two names must be typed in manually. The clues are obscure. Okay. Don't forget. Family trees use surnames from birth, even if the person changed their last name after marriage. Always use a person's most recent occupation. Okay, so I think those are set unless he's got something. Let's look at the other occupations real quick, just in case he has a different one other than CEO. No, I think those two are correct. Okay, so let's go to this. So let's look up Carl, because they did mention Carl. Carl was the father. Okay. So I'm going to put her as CEO too. So we need to find a picture of Brenda White. Okay, so let's look up the next one on there, which is Gwyn Roottrees. Old films that are not yet available on VHS. Well-known actress, was active in the 50s, especially around the time of her public status divorce. Guys like us. Gwyn was the granddaughter of Elias Roottrees. She couldn't have been named Roottrees, but her father took her mother's famous name, which was quite rare in those days. Oh, she was pretty. Now let's see where she's at. So granddaughter. So granddaughter. So she would be in this line. So she could be this one, or this one. So there's multiple places she could be. So tabloids. Let's look up the last one. Flops. When Roottrees had a role as soldier's wife. It was a war movie. Guys Like Us. Gwyn Roottrees, Leslie Florence, and Harrison Lane. Okay, so that doesn't help us at all. Let's look up divorce. Crossland mentioned a marriage to Wild Bill Williams. They divorced before the birth of her second child. Okay. So let's look at the ones with the stars that are on the second row. So it's not that one because that has one child. She had two. Split up. So, and then two kids. Okay. So I'm pretty sure this is her. And that was Gwyn Roottrees. And she was an actress. And then what was her husband's name? Wild Bill Williams. Fortune favors the grave. Search that one. He grew up in Paris, France. Okay, do we have anyone with the last name Williams? No, okay, so we might not be able to find that one yet. Now let's go back to Gwyn. Okay, there was a book that was mentioned. Present. Okay, guess let's put our thinking caps on. It has no CEO, but it's run by a president. Okay, so that's where I got one wrong. Because he's not CEO. He's the first president. There we go. So that's 3 of them. So we got those 3 correct. Unlock the following optional entry of Sheridan Thomas, which is the one that married the youngest one. Okay. So let's go look at our notable list. Welcome back from the ads. Alright, let's look up Red Roottrees. Strange historical facts. Aloysius Herring Roottrees, aka Red, was an appointed judge and politician who earned his nickname ironically because he was the ambassador to Ireland for only about 6 days. He served what some people contend is the shortest term in history. A few days after he was appointed, he was heard disparaging his position in the Irish people. He then tried to run for state senate. He claimed to be related to the Roottrees Candy Company in a newspaper ad, but came out his last name was merely a coincidence, and he was defeated in a slide. Okay, so does any of these show that they are not truly related? So we're looking for one with a star that looks like they're not actually related. So we'll put a pin in that one. Because saying that his last name was a coincidence. Let's look up his full name. Maybe look up Ambassador of to Ireland? No, okay, so that doesn't do anything. Okay, we're gonna put that. Don't need that note anymore. Alright, let's just look up the candy company because I know it said that there was a book. Okay. Not seeing the book on that one. I know I saw a book somewhere. So let's look up 5 pieces. It's an iconic candy. No longer the only popular product to still sell well. Small, colorful shell-coated maple candies that have impressed to the shape of a maple leaf, although they usually have one flavor that looks more like a berry. So, Sweet History Candy, Volume 2. So, copy that by Charles Lee. Private book series about all things candy. Prince paper ad from the 1930s. It's a miracle, a modern candy for a modern society. Roottrees 5 pieces. G is for grape, E is for elderberry, CE is for cinnamon extract, M is for melon, and introducing M for miracle berry. Miracle berry is a burst of beautiful blossoming blended berries. What is a miracle berry? Okay, let's go back. Let's look at the other one. Power plum, strawberry, cool chocolate, red, bad blue raspberry, awesome apple. Oh. I thought clicking that would do that. Okay, let's look up. Okay, so I think since he's crossed out and there's little red fish, I think that means that he's not relevant at all. Let's look up Jim Roottrees. Sings in the duo Jim and Diamond with his wife Diamond LaRue. Writes majority songs, play guitar. Diamond is the lead singer. That's Jim and Diamond. So it says he is grandson. So he would be on the second row. So there's two spots he could be. He could be in this spot with one child, and this one also has one spot. It would have to be this one, I think. Maybe? No. Okay. So let's look up the wife. Diamond LaRue. That looks like Diamond Dazzlers, because that looks like that could be official fan club. They still send out a Christmas card, pictures, not available to join, still honor it. Young son Wolf, as well as a note about his daughter's band, the Floozies. Okay, so they had 2 kids. Okay, so it would be one that has 2 kids. That one only has 1. That one also only has 1. Let's look at that again. As well as a note about his daughter's band, the Floozies. So let's look up Wolf. Wolf is the son. Let's see, is there a wolf fruit tree? If it's not under wolf tree, we'll look under LaRue. Alright, let's look. Okay, let's go back to this page. Let's look at the Floozies. Okay. All-female punk band operating out of New York City. An opening for the band the reviewer actually came to see. KG about their identities. Rumored to be the children of other famous musicians who didn't want to be why they became popular. Except maybe B favorite 7th track. No picture of the Floozies performing live. The cover CD selling Conquistador. Okay. So, Candy. Bass is Nikki. Drums, yeah. So let's look up Conquistador. Maybe look up the song. Okay, let's go back to the Floozies. Okay. Candy. Candy Roottrees. Sandy LaRue. Okay. So she's important to something. So 2 years ago, so he's clearly a child. Let's go back to Jim Roottrees. Sound of laughter. Picture of the cover. So that doesn't get us anywhere. Let's look up cherry tree. Okay, we got something. Wasn't personally reviewed. Return to form. Sample of one of the songs called Sun. Website found it on the side of the full view version. Shown from her starting days imparting wisdom to conquer life unknown. Summation part. Son of. Okay, so that doesn't really get us anywhere, and there's nothing saying there's anything. Oh, it has the actual song. It's kind of neat. Okay, so it doesn't give us any additional. Okay. Okay, so that just gets us to there. No, I don't want any hints. Alright, who is the other person that was on the list? Because we're coming up with straws here. Let's look up Lauren Roottrees. Distant relative of the Roottrees sisters. Few romance novels under the married name Lauren Rafferty. Keeping diaries about her famous family. Insisted she release them under the original name. Section of diary entries released in 1965 as a life between wars spans from the untimely death of her husband in World War II. I'm missing the T, but that's fine. That might come important. So 1965. Okay, so see if there's one. Let's look at all the stars. Now it says relative of the Roottrees sisters, so it could be a closer one, but it also said, well, it said distant. So she could be there. Okay. I feel like that's close. They said distant, and this is the one that's furthest away, it looks like. That's starred. So let's assume that she's here. Or in Roottrees. Writer. Author. So let's see if we can get a picture of her. Copy. That was 2 T's. Oh, hit the jackpot here. Oh, I think we got a lot of information. Well, we got a lot of pictures now. Complaints, Dynasty. Lauren Roottrees' diary written in 1958. So her son is named Clark. So he would be Clark. So Chris, I think, is what her husband was. Husband Jacob. So Jacob Rafferty. Granddaughter of Elias Schools on her father's side. Her mother's family was called the Cossells, but she hardly ever mentions them. Her father's Pop was the head lawyer. Alright, so her father... Oh, over here. So her father was a lawyer. So we can pop that in there. Mother's family was the Cossells. Okay. So is there someone Cossell? Yes, Sarah. So she would be there. But she only ever called her father Pop, so that doesn't help us. Roottrees, Shorthand names for the different generations. So the 5 pieces were the first generation. Next generation was Lauren's. Free spirits, the generation after Lauren's, including her son. So complaints. Gwyn, who is on the notable Roottrees list. So Gwyn is the actress, the one that we've already locked in. Stay with her and Aunt Margot. So one of the... So we're going to highlight that, so that way we can remember that Gwyn... So Gwyn and Lauren share Aunt Margot. Seems to be in Starlit. First Roottrie woman to be anything other than a housewife. What is Starlit? Oh! Okay. Okay, so we have that. So let's go back to Gwyn. Robert Williams, best about her last name. My grandfather constantly preached the importance of family names and honoring them. My father decided to bless me with a famous name. There's nothing wrong with Cornwall, but Roottrie has power. Okay. So does that mean Cornwall would be her mother? Go back to you. So, Cornwall. Cornwall Linus. Put that there for the moment. Relocated to Paris. Oh. First roles was under his real name, Walter Forsyth. Okay, so her husband is Walter Forsyth. So we might be able to suss out the kids. Okay, let's go back to periodicals. See if it says anything. Divorce was due to multiple affairs. She's holding a baby invisibly pregnant. Okay. Let's go back to her. Sticking with Roottrie for the last name. So her mother's name was Roottrie, not her father's. Okay, so we're stalled out on that one. Let's go back to this. Here's a child without worry. Okay. Child dynasty. Her grandfather would step down. Clancy told me everyone got quite heated. Who's Clancy? And it was furious that none of his sons would take over as president. Architects, preachers, and lawyers. No one's got time for candy. So the 5 pieces refusing to step up came up to his next gens. Stay with our branch of the family. Clancy ended up going to Zach, even though his surname doesn't match the candy. Whoever came up that a woman could take over. After all, Angie's older than Zach, and I'm the next oldest of all, but he just laughed. I'll never forget the cuss words Pop used when he told Ma it wouldn't go to us. Mother, ever the quick-witted, at least with catty remarks, countered back. Maybe they wanted it to only go to the only member of the family who looks like he samples the product. Okay, so I know there was a picture. There's this one. Since Miracle was in it, 3 of us were about the same age. Only the 5 pieces, which didn't really go over well, to say the least. Supposed to stop the tantrums. They posed in front of the counter. It was Mr. Morden. And everyone took the second photo. So that's the 5 pieces. Okay. And there's this one. Spread out the 5 pieces photo for our generation. Eli to stand all the way on the left. So he looked at me like a lot like Pop. I was out with my brothers. 4 of us stand together. Letting one filter in behind and in front of us. The only one too good to make an appearance was Gwen. Include Sam, even if we didn't want to. Fair Miracle made it in since he's technically a 5-piece. Yes, my inner child still holds a grudge even after all those years. So that's the next generation. So they said the only one that looks like they sampled the product, so I'm guessing it's the heavier set one. So that one's Zach. So if we can figure out which one is Zach. Sam. Last for 2 years given him thought Sam, an obscure relative, was to be included in family gatherings. Granny had sisters and Granddad had a brother too. Trimmed the branches. The rest of us, including Miracle's boys, sent ages trying to unravel the mystery. Sam and Uncle Junior's wedding to Patsy last year. Clancy saw Sam working alongside the farm hands. Clark's getting married. So, Danielle. So, Clark, Danielle. There's only one Danielle, so it's probably her. Clark Rafferty. So museums and artists. The only one with discipline is Carl. Pop Force Clancy to send him to the academy. Swashbuckle my heart. Cousins are doing well. Zach's not a bad president after all. Sister seems to be doing a job of raising the twins. Gwen is Gwen. So be home next year so we can meet the kids. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so she had a different last name. I believe I saw that. So let's go back to this. So let's look up Lauren Rafferty. Okay, so it said. Okay. So let's go up under Rafferty. Did I spell it right? Okay. So what was her son's name again? Clark. So let's see if we can find anything about Clark. Used to make
Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I
Oh,
dance, 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 and I dance,
Jesus.
dance, dance. Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance. Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance.
meow. I know that one's not meant to be a jump scare, but that totally jump scared me. Rawr. Okay, so let's look up the album these times. You scary cat. Meow. Okay. Let's look up this. We're putting our thinking hats on. Okay. C and J plus J and D these times. Die Hard Dazzler X scan the cover. 200 bucks. Jim Roottrees and Diamond Ruse for a song together. Jim's cousin and Diamond's sister. Okay, let's see what we got here. Yes, they are quite dead. Okay, scan of the album. Back up by the LaRue's. We can actually play the songs too. Okay. Okay, it's gonna keep playing, so. Folk style songwriting. So the question is, which one is Clark? Okay, wait a minute. So look at the flowers. This one says J and D. So that's Jim and Diamond. Then C and J is Clark and somebody else. So that's her sister. So Clark, this one's Clark. That's Clark. And he's a musician. Okay, so we think we've got that one nailed in. Is that the only one that we've gotten nailed in? So Lauren Roottrees. Actually, we have a picture of Lauren Roottrees. So we got two. So we need to figure out. So Jim and Diamond are the same range as here. So I believe this is. No, that's. No, because that's saying it's going to be a girl. But yeah, the Roottrees, they all died in a car crash. Now we're trying to put together their family trees. Alright, let's go back to this. So let's look up the LaRue's. Alright, let's look up just the folk group. Jim Roottrees and Diamond LaRue's first song together. Jim's cousin. So Jim would be the same level. Jim would be this level. Okay, so this would be Jim. James, because short for Jim. Musician. This would be Diamond LaRue. Okay, so we got 3 filled in, but something's not right because it's not triggering. Maybe because that's not the newest photo. Okay, something isn't correct. Because usually when you get 3 of them and they're correct, they appear in here. Okay, so let's see what we're missing. Okay, so we got a periodical now. LaRue's sisters. Session worked for the Great Uncle's record label. They were credited as the Lucky LaRue's. Okay, that doesn't help us. Okay. Diamond with his cousin and his ex. Okay. So that might be, I might have them. So that's it. I got them in the wrong spot. Because it said his and his ex, so Daniel Franks goes there. So you go over here. And that's Carl Rafferty. Or Clark Rafferty. Musician. So then this would be Jacob. Which we have a picture of him. And then this would be her. And that's Lauren Roottrees. And then she is an author. So they mentioned a son and a daughter. So I feel like that. Is there someone named Candy? Candy Roottrees. And musician. And then you are a wolf. Actually, let's switch them. I think she's the older one. Because he looks like the younger one. She's a musician. Okay, we got 3 right. Which ones are locked in? James, Candy, and Lauren. Okay. So we got a few locked in. Okay, we got her
You're
back.
on a roll. I'll try to keep that momentum going. Carl's office was a mess, thanks to some burst pipes.
Alright, let me do a little chair adjust here.
But I unearthed a photo from a 1970s Roottrees reunion. I also found some important-looking papers.
Yay, more clues.
You've traced 9 blood relatives so far. I'll have more to share after you find 9 more.
Alright, let's look at our new stuff here. Alright. From your employer. Here's a bonus. I pulled the water damaged picture of the free spirits out of the frame. This fell out too. Couldn't make the reunion. Wishing you well from Paris, Gwen and the boys. Okay. So let's go to this. Where's Gwen? Okay. He looks like the older one, so we'll assume he's the older one for the moment. And his jacket said film school, so we'll assume he's a filmmaker? Director? We'll pop that in temporarily. That's the key part. And then we have another picture of Gwen. Alright. Vote for Stephanie Jones for City Council. Better for Butler County. Butler County Times. That looks like that's probably another one for us to unlock. As a side note, a video game called The Roottrees Are Dead was once set in Butler County, and turns out the creator never lived in or near Butler County, or even had any connection to it. Okay. So I may have grown up in an unconventional family at least, but in her words, it was still full of love. Now, 22 years later, the baby Roan due around Christmas. Love is our future. Carl, I know we don't see eye to eye when it comes to the candy company, but if you could talk to your girls about putting out a statement supporting Stephanie, she could use the publicity that you and your daughters bring. Don't let our conflict spread to the next generation. Okay. So they are somewhere probably on this lowest level, but we don't have anything to do on them yet. Stephanie Jones. Let's look up Stephanie Jones. Candidate for city cancel, won her campaign, no mention of the Roottrees in any articles. Okay. So Stephanie Jones, search periodicals, Butler County Times. born Stephanie Landon. Lived in Butler County. Grown up home without a father. Distant cousin of the Roottrees. Her mother Caroline, a local artist. Some kind of opposed to corporation policies regarding deforestation of indigenous trees. So is there any without a father? I think this is probably... I'm gonna put her here for now. Stephanie Landon. Landon Mark. Okay. So I think that's actually incorrect. So let's clear that. Okay, so she doesn't have the child yet. So I think this is probably a good spot to put her. Stephanie Landon. Okay, actually, I don't think that's right either. That says guardian, adoption, or otherwise. Okay. Stephanie Landon, nothing. Caroline Landon. Caroline Roottrees. Who's appeared on the front page. Caroline Artist. Okay, so no Caroline Roottrees, Caroline Landon. Okay. Alright, let's look at something else. Carl and Brenda, I'm sorry you weren't able to attend the funeral. Have it as soon as possible. And Ernie, you know, busy with she have account still identical to ours. Ernie was a man full of love. Ernie had to say strong, especially for Nicole's sake. So Ernie, Debbie, and they have a child named Nicole. Okay, so we're gonna highlight that. So we have some names to go off of here. Trees hold a big reunion and recreate a old family photos. One's from the 70s. We got so many pictures. Large number of cursive signatures. Bonnie, next person Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr., Caroline, Gwyneth M., Gwendolyn, Miracle Jr., Jim Roottrees, Clark, Carl, and Eli M. Carl's the teenager in the middle. Wait. Okay. Okay. So he looks young, so I'm gonna guess he is maybe a student. Okay, so do we have the second picture of Elias? So these are the 5 pieces. We don't know which one's which. But they're going to be the ones all across the top. Looks like, look up Linus Cornwall. Nothing. No. We're kind of at a little bit of a standstill here. Stephanie Jones. CM. Caroline Modron. So let's look up Caroline Morden. I think I spelled that completely wrong. Morden. There's also Morden Gwendolyn. Let's look up Gwendolyn. DWYN. I think I spelled that wrong. DULINE. MORDEN. Okay. Parents and friends of lesbians and gays. Okay. There we go. Let's see, an art listing. Large metal sculpture. This is burden. And she is an artist. Self-portrait art and the beauty of women. Copy. Public library. Black and white pictures. They've certainly not been added to evidence. Sister Gwendolyn and cousin Bonnie gave up on dreams. Brother-in-law Dr. Wilson. Married a man who was the opposite of boring, which was an overcorrection. Marriage to Mark. Who the frick is Mark? Dedicated to Eloise and Stephanie. Okay. Mark Landon. Okay. Then this would be Stephanie Landon. So that was the right spot for her. And she's politician. Okay, we got 3 right. Okay, so we got Wolf right, because I took a shot that he looked young and was a student. And we got Caroline and Stephanie. And that's Brian Jones. And we have a picture for him. Her brother-in-law, Dr. Wilson. So there's multiple. Sister Gwendolyn. So this would be Gwendolyn. Marriages double. Give up on their dreams to settle for boring men. Her father's Zach. Okay, so Zach is the father. Which would be Morden then. Oh, there's Zach. Eloise and Stephanie. So Eloise would be this one. Okay. So I'm gonna guess she was a housewife because she gave up on dreams. So Caroline is in here, as well as Gwendolyn. I feel like that one's her. Because the hair and everything look the same. I'm gonna take a shot with that picture. That might not be correct. Okay. Okay, let's go back to this real quick. So, Zach is her cousin. Pop forced Clint. Carl. So I think this one's actually... And he'd be president. And this would be Brenda. That's Eli. Is that Carl? No. Carl's the teenager in the middle, so this one. Did we actually look up Carl? Entrance early junior. both in their early 20s. Carl took over as president from Ernie Jr. Let's look up Ernie Jr. Former president, precede Carl Roottrees, Carl's mentor. Okay, so where would Carl be? Or Ernie Jr. I don't think that's his father. Let's look up. Guy Hudson. Let's look up Guy Hudson. Let's go in another direction. Fancy Flavors was an addition to the 5-piece product line for less a year. Fancy Flavors. Flavor 5 pieces of mimic caviar. Let's look up Fancy Flavors. See if that gets us anything. If we just look up caviar? No. Okay. Let's see what else we can look up here. Let's look up Miracle Jr. I don't think we've looked up Miracle Jr. yet. I think he was actually in the list. Miracle Jr. doesn't go by his full name. Promotional materials shortened it to Miracle Jr. Televangelist. Part of the Miracle Network. Defraud. Heal someone in wheelchairs. Wife's Edith's sister. Alright, let's look up Miracle Network. List of testimonies of Miracle's root tree. Root tree arrived so late in his mother's life, the doctor swore he went so his first year. Child's generally is torn apart by health problems. Miracle Jr., Miracle the Third. Okay. And it said he was the youngest of them. So this one... So that would be Miracle Jr. Actually, no, it said he doesn't go by his full name. So just Miracle and religion. Preacher. Oh, no. Preacher. And that was also preacher. No, he would be down here. 'Cause yeah, Miracle the Third. Yeah, he would be down here actually. Clear that, because that would definitely... Oh no, they had multiple kids. Okay, I feel like this is the line we should be working on. So that's not there, because we moved that one. Because that was... So that one's Cusso. Let's go back to this. So wait, Miracle would have a star. So it's this one. So he's the junior. So we'll do that one. So let's move him over here. So he's preacher. Okay. Okay, so we got those right.
You're listening
Up.
to WRTD.
It's time for your headlines. Once an hour, every hour, on the 45. It's a bizarre development to an already tragic tale. In the wake of the accident that took his life, some of Carl Roottrees' belongings have apparently gone missing.
Oh,
Most
no.
notably, a framed photo of the Roottree family from the mid-1970s that Carl had on his office wall. We interviewed a local psychologist about who would do such a thing and why.
That's
For
the stuff
article,
that lady
search
gave us.
online for WRTD News. Again, that's WRTD.
Okay, so let's look that up real quick. WRTD News. Investigative Jazz radio station. Someone's a key. Took a picture of Sco in the pipe's dirt. Burst during a recent storm. Don't believe that. Another, the Roottrie curse being a real true thing. Okay. Okay, let's go back up to here. Because he is also a preacher. Okay. Is there the other? Miracle Network, Miracle's Root Tree. Second vessel for higher power. Okay, so now, so we got him. So we just actually have to look up just Miracle Root Tree. Okay, so he was also a preacher. So that was just straight up preaching down the line here. We had a picture of Miracle. That one. I'm pretty sure. Because of the rainbow tie is, I think, the clue there. Because the others have rainbows on their stuff, so. Rainbow background, rainbow tie. So I'm pretty sure that's him. Okay, so is there any with a star that we have not filled in? Okay, I think we've got all of the starred ones filled in. Let's follow this line. So let's look up Clark Rafferty. Count these times. See if their name comes up with anything. Okay, let's copy. Still search periodicals. Skip it or flip it. Clark Rafferty, Jim Roottrees. Okay, so we're not getting anything on that line of thought. Right, let's look up Eli Roottrees. No, nothing comes up. Let's look up Sam Roottrees. No. Do we already have the picture from Miracle Jr.? Okay, so we have other pictures we could put for him, but we can't put those yet. Let's look up Bonnie Roottrees. No. we already put Jim in here somewhere? Yeah. I feel like that's also him. No, I don't think that's him. That one. Okay, so I'm pretty sure those are him. And then that's her. Okay. Do we have another picture of him somewhere? That could be him. Okay. We still have a lot to do. So let's go back to evidence. No one who has any disciplines. Carl Pop forced Clancy to send him to the academy. So one of her brothers is named Clancy. Wait, she said son was Carl, right? Yeah, so Clancy. So this one's Clancy. So that would be the other Clancy. They'll seem to pursue passive knowledge. Edward is set to take over. So another one is Edward. We'll put Edward there. So let's look up Clancy Roottrees and see what we get. Let's look him up in here. No. Zach is not a bad president after all, and his sister seems to be doing a good job at raising her twins. Oh, that's connected. There's a secret there. So these two are going to be twins. So Zach would probably be the third president, because said Zach took over the company. So let's look up Zach Roottrees. Yep. No. Okay. Let's look at the pictures here. Okay. So she... So there's multiple ones, so I can't really place that yet. I know it's serious. Those sons would take over. His surname doesn't match the candy. So that matches up with Zachariah Morden. Huh. Am I spelling it wrong? Zacharih. No. Okay. Let's look here. No. Okay, so that's not getting us anywhere. It's the firstborn son of the firstborn 5-piece. So this would be the other one with the name Mordrin. Or no, this would be... That would be James, so this would be Angelica. Because they're sisters, and firstborn son doesn't mean that the firstborn was the son. So I think that just means that the firstborn was... I think they also said... Okay, so I think that one is... him. Housewife. Let's look up James Morden. No. Let's look him up in this. Let's try it with a space in between. Up. No. Okay. Yeah, Angie's older than Zach. Architects, preachers, and lawyers. I want Margot. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit here. Okay, so Margot would not be there because they said aunt, so it wouldn't be there. Okay, let's go back to, where are you? Let's go back to you. Atlantis' burden. Let's look up the sculpture maybe? Can you let me highlight it, please? Thank you. Select my decision. Starlight. Let's look up. We're in a little bit of a dead end here for the moment. So we got this. Hi, Ray. Welcome in. I'm good. I'm brain farting on trying to figure this out. I haven't gotten a new entry done. Carl and Brenda. Ernie and I had to stay strong for Nicole's sake. So maybe we can figure out where Ernie, Nicole, and Debbie go. So it'd be someone that I feel like Debbie would be a child like these. So we can find one on that level that's just one child. Which Could be either one of these. Okay, let's look up. Go back to this because it mentioned the doctor. Oh, good luck on your catch. And she was Caroline Morden. Sister Gwendolyn and cousin Bonnie. Let's look up Gwendolyn Wilson. No. Let's look in Butler County Times. Nice catch. No. Oh. Here we go. We got something here. Dr. Stephen Wilson does not have a practice in Butler County. It seems he operates out of Warrendale, which is somewhere between Butler County and Pittsburgh. Alright, let's look up Stephen Wilson. We found a way to game the top search results. Picture of his 3 children. Credit to his child Jason, but might not be written by a 10-year-old. Big brother or sister. Okay, we got something here. Alright, so we got Stephen Wilson. We'll come back to the other picture in a second. So that's gonna probably be him. And then we got the 3 kids. My big brother or my sister. Okay, so we at least got the kids. I'm guessing since he's in the graduation cap, he's probably the oldest. Quote below the picture was credited to Jason. Three of them look as if the doctor was holding them hostage. Apparently the doctor to the Roottrees sisters. Okay, so let's look up Jason Wilson. Nothing. Okay, so let's go back. Let's look up pediatrician to the stars. Actually, we don't need to... Well, we don't know the names, but this one's Jason. And he's obviously just going to be a student. Alright, so we got 3 more locked in. Yeah, the point of... The whole premise of the game is the last remaining heirs of this candy company, the Roottrees, they died in an airplane. So, like, the mother and father and the 3 daughters. So someone approaches you to put together a family tree, like finding different clues and putting together the family tree to figure out who is a blood relative and who is not a blood relative, because there's all infighting over the inheritance. And sometimes you have to, like, as you go on, you'll get more clues. There's a woman that keeps giving us more stuff and, like, more photos, and you kind of go through it's kind of set in the 90s, so you're using, like, 90s style internet lookup and stuff to try to find information on the different people, and then you've got to place them in the correct spots on the family tree with their photos, their name, their occupation. I played this game before because it had a free version that was on itch.io, and it wasn't quite as fancy as this. It was a lot more like text-based. Like, the pictures weren't quite as good. Like, I think they said that there was, like, a lot of, like, AI photos, and they've slowly replaced them with non-AI photos and stuff. Yeah. So you're just using all that, like, low-tech information to try to figure out who goes where, what, and it's kind of interesting because there's, like, a big secret. Because that, you can see, I'll answer that in a second. But there's one part you can't, and once you fill in the whole tree, then you can find that. And it's clearly there's, like, a big secret going on. Oh, nope. Hold on.
So, you may have heard the news.
Yeah.
Some of Carl's things have gone missing.
Oh, I got an
That
achievement for
includes
letting the
pictures and
machine
mail I
answer
brought
it.
you earlier. I promise I didn't steal it.
Yeah, there's an older woman. We don't know anything about her, but she, after we get so many filled in, she brings us more information.
But I did borrow it. I'll return it once we're done. Let me deal with my family in the meantime. Oh, I guess that means I've officially confessed.
Well, that means she's part of the family.
I'm a Roottrees.
Dun dun dun!
I assure you I have a reasonable explanation for the secrecy. I'm about to do something big the family doesn't approve of.
Oh.
If you could just wait a little bit longer, I'll tell you more. In person. I'll return after 15 more blood relatives.
Okay, so we got 15 more to do. Do we have... And then this just kind of gives us the basic information that we get. Okay, so the person getting us the information is a Roottrees. Oh, yeah. But I've gotten a little bit in. Like, you start, really, the test that you do, like the little tutorial, is just figuring out the order of the three sisters and getting their names. And then it's slowly just kind of figuring everything else out. And then as you go along there, you'll have one main picture, but then you'll have the option to put other pictures in as you find them. But you have to lock them in to be able to, like, see how I can't put any for him. It's because I haven't gotten him locked in yet. Which means I've got something wrong with him. So, because he didn't get locked in on that last round and I had him filled in. So when you don't have it right, it won't click. And every 3 that you get right, it locks them in so you don't accidentally, like I can't, like, pull this one out or change the information accidentally. Okay, and that didn't lock in, so that's not right picture for him. So we'll just take that one off of there. Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing it when it was on the free version, but this is a lot better. They've changed some of the information around to make it a little more streamlined and everything, so I can't even, if I went back to, like, my old playthrough and look for hints, it probably would be very different. Okay, so that also didn't lock in. Oh, no, because he would be the second president. Because one of the hints said, like the first set of children were called they were named after the candy, so they were the five pieces, and they said no one in the five pieces wanted to take over, so that's why that one didn't lock in. Because I had him as the third president, he was actually the second. Because no one from this generation wanted to take it over. Okay. Let's look up Clancy Edward Roottrees and see if we find anything. Okay. So we got something. The Clanstead, pronounced Clanstead Trust, is a highly unusual corporate arrangement named after Clancy Edward Roottrees, who was Elias's son and the Roottrees Candy Company's head lawyer at the time. Okay. So he was a lawyer. Okay, let's go back. Due to its unique nature, it's often brought up in online discussions about financial matters and inheritance as an oddity. The company mandates that a fixed percentage of its profits are split every quarter amongst the bank accounts representing each direct relative of Elias and Gwyneth. An account is created for each blood relative at birth and first accessible when they reach 18. The actual numbers have never been fully disclosed to the public, but due to the ever-increasing success of the company, it is a significant amount of money. It's known for being essentially impossible to get around due to many checks and balances written into it. A few situations where family members have tried to forcibly remove another member from the trust. The only information discovered from a university law school, which apparently had a guest lecturer talked about the Roottrees versus RR. Clanstead Trust. Okay. So let's highlight that. Okay, so we can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. And we can get rid of that. Okay. This is definitely helpful that they added this, so that way if you see something you can go back to remember it. But I wanted to highlight that because I want to look up the court case. RR attempted unsuccessfully to remove a fellow family member from the trust. Two arguments. First, the person in question was born out of wedlock, and second, they committed a significant crime against a fellow family member. Due to the ironclad wording of Clanstead Trust, it was impossible to remove without a completely dissolving the trust. Okay, so let's look up the Clanstead Trust. Okay. So we can actually get rid of that. So let's look up the 5-piece guarantee. Combination. The yearly salary of Roottrees president is always locked to the price of a single pack of 5 pieces. When the 5-piece guarantee went into effect, this was 25 cents a year. Now it's closer to $4. Only his direct relatives could afford to be president. He knew that because their passive income was tied to the profits of the company, they would have a vested interest in keeping the company as profitable and successful as possible. Okay, so that doesn't really help us. Let's go back to Elias here. Okay, this is the thing that I was missing. Okay, let's highlight that. See if what we get from this. that gets us nowhere. Okay. Delete that since that didn't really get us anything. Let's see if Junior comes up. Okay. Tree Junior's name is on a website about historical buildings in Butler County. Hunched-top house. Oldest son. Okay. So what we'll assume, we'll do a little assumption here. So this one would have been a daughter. Because we need James Morden to have Zechariah Morden to be able to have those two as Morden. So this one is probably Elias Jr. Who's an architect. Now, there was... Warehouse Elias Jr. The question is, which one is Elias Jr.? Possibly the one in the middle? It's either him or him. Let's go back to this. No, it wasn't this. It was this one. Wanted Eli to stand all the way to the left. Not like Pop did in the old one. Okay. I'm going to take a leap of faith here. Because he looks the most like a lawyer. No, because this is not... No, because that's the wrong generation. Because they said that he looked a lot... The Pop looked a lot like... Actually, no. Let's put that one there. And this one here. Let's go back to that. Oh, like Pop did in the old one. Outvoted by my brothers. that goes there. Okay. So he's the youngest by the long shot, so that means this one is gonna have to be you. No, 'cause that one's gotta be a girl. Because we got Linus. Actually, no, because the other one is blonde. So, Agile. Oh. Sorry about the ads. Necessary evil, unfortunately. You didn't miss too much, though, just me doing some out loud theorizing. So I'm going to put you there. Because since she's blonde, I'm going to guess blonde begets blonde. Haven't gotten any of the ones correct yet. Okay, I'm gonna guess you're a student. Okay, 12. And you're a student. He's got the graduation and it was 2 years ago. I'm gonna guess student college. How many more Wilsons do we have? We only got 2 other Wilsons, so that's gotta be Jem and that's gotta be Zach. Okay, so we got a couple more. Welcome back from Adland. The only thing you missed is I figured out the kids. So the things that I figured out that I don't know if you missed was I realized he was actually the second president, not the third, because they said no one from the first generation wanted to take over. And then I realized, okay, these got to be students, and it said the picture was 2 years ago, which means if he's already graduated, that means he's a college student, and looks like she's probably still high school, and there was only 2 other Wilson names left. So I got those in. So that line is pretty locked in. So we still have most of the first one to lock in. Do we have another picture of Miracle? That's probably the other picture of Miracle. Because he would be the youngest by a long shot, and he had medical problems, and he's wearing glasses, so you have to take quite a few leaps of faith in this. Okay. Let's look up Gwen Forsyth. Because that would have been her married name. Not really. If you get something wrong, it just won't click in and lock. So, like, with those ones, if I had something that wasn't correct, so let's see if I had any. Like how I had this one. Obviously something was wrong because that one didn't lock in as well. So that means the picture's probably wrong. So that's probably that one. So I probably had those right to begin with. So we'll see if next round, if I get one more correct, if those two will lock in. So. But yeah, it's just mostly it just takes a little bit longer. And if you have like something locked in, like how I got these pictures here, which I know those are her two sons, I might have them on the wrong sides, but if I click on another one, oh no, the pictures are there, but it's marked that I've got it somewhere else, But yeah, it's mostly it just takes longer to figure everything out. How do I spell that? Forsythe. Forsythe. Okay. Do we have any other Forsyths? No. So those two would have a root tree name. Which we still have quite a few. So we got Elias C, Elias M, which I doubt would be them. There's Jack, Robert, Ronald. We could just start looking up random names from here, but I feel like that would defeat the purpose. I'm going to go back to Christopher Hudson. So I feel like he is important somewhere. Nothing, okay. Nice. So I feel like everybody on there is accounted for. So that we don't have to worry about. But still says there's 7. Okay. See, I also have to think along the way. Some people go by their maiden names on this rather than their married names. Grape, elderberry, cinnamon, melon, miracle. Okay, I read in another one that they're in the order of age. Okay. So miracle. Yep, keep forgetting 2 T's. There's only 1 M, so that would be Margolite. C-E. Clancy Edward. Oh. Ah, I just did something on... Hold on, I did something screwy on OBS. I'm sorry for a second. Okay. Got back to it. Okay. I'm not in full screen mode, so... Okay, and then E for elderberry, G. So the oldest one, her name would be G. So she would be Gwendolyn. And I'm guessing Since it was an older generation, let's try housewife. Okay, so we got some locked in. Okay, so I've got those 3 locked in. And then the optional picture of Miracle. Okay, so those are locked in. So something is still wrong with this one. Because that one still isn't locking in. Let's go back to this. Okay, so we can get rid of that note. With Clark. Let's look up Harrison Lane and Starlet. Nothing seems relevant. Okay. And she was the first Roottrees woman to be anything other than a housewife, and I'm jealous. Okay. Clancy told me everyone got quite heated. Granddad was furious. Architects, preachers, and lawyers. No one's got time for candy, but we've got that generation pretty much filled in. Angie. Did I fill that one in? Okay, so she would have been a housewife as well. Because they said that Gwen was the first one that was not a housewife. Okay, so let's go back to the pictures. So this would be the second generation. So one of these two is Angie. Probably. Ah! Arietti. That one, that was not a good one. Remind me to remove that one. No, that, like, not even funny, Arietti. Like, that one legit scared the shit out of me. Let's avoid the jump scares, okay? At least for now. That one just got me. Jump scare 1. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna make a note to remove that one. That was bad. The tone of that sound just not good. It's okay, but I'm gonna remove that one because that one was not a good sound. I don't mind the ones that are more like ghosty sounds or like sounds from Phasmophobia, but that one was just loud and it cut right through me and really kind of hurt my ears. Okay, so I'm thinking she's that one. Aw, thank you, and you picked the best number. All's forgiven, Arietti. Okay, let's go back to... Yeah, that one just was not a good tone at all.
Fire!
Fire! So that's a good one. Okay, so that doesn't help us at all. Okay, so Diamond LaRue. Who is C? Is there a C LaRue? Well, there's Diamond, Jane, and Kim. Let's look up Jane. No. Okay. Let's look up Kim. Nothing. Okay, so that doesn't help. Yeah, that one was an obnoxious one, and it's not Arietti's fault. I didn't realize that one was that terrible. I know I put a bunch of jump scare ones on there because I was doing spooky games on Halloween, and never took a lot of them off. I didn't realize that how bad that particular one was, so... There's two Rafferty LaRue's. So I'm going to assume that these two are down here. So this one's got to be a LaRue. But there's two, and I have no way to narrow them down. Let's look them up. Nothing. Okay. Okay, hold on. We got something. Yeah. There's nothing we can do about it other than I noted it down. I'll try to find it and block that one or something. That just cut through me. Clark Rafferty LaRue's advertising firm on it. Wait a minute. Is there a Clark Rafferty LaRue? No, but there's a Chris. I'll just stick you there for now, because that makes sense that he would be a Rafferty child. Trying to get Katrina. Katrina's the youngest. Okay. Okay, so I got that right. So they're both the two kids. So she looks like the youngest. She looks like the next youngest, and they'd be two students. All good. I'll probably see you in Spook's chat later, right? Have fun doing the modding. Oh, okay, so that gets us 3. But now I know why we didn't get Clark, is because we had the wrong picture. Locked in the 5 pieces, okay. But that's why we didn't get him, is because there's a newer picture of him. Because you have to have the newest picture on there. So that means she is also a student. So those two should be correct. This one should be Katrina. No, it's not a Katrina. Oh, Katrina's the youngest. Okay. So that is her. So that's going to be one of the LaRues. Roottrees Super Bowl ad. Roottrees Maple Super Bowl commercial. Family making an apartment spawn. Father bites into a Roottrees Maple crisp. Different things in the store. Roottrees candy. Alright. Let's look up Raffertoons. Clark Rafferty LaRue's advertising campaign. Okay. Let's take a look here. Nothing in there. Nothing in there. Nothing in there. Let's... Okay, so that just gets us back to that. Nothing relevant. Nothing relevant. Nothing relevant. Okay. So that doesn't get us any further. Okay, so let's see where we're at here. So I'm fairly certain that this one and this one's correct now. Let's look up Clancy Roottree Jr. Okay, let's just go to this. A little easier to... Nope, 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 nope. Okay, so nothing coming up with that. Let's go back into here. See if anything comes up. We also plan to lean into alliteration. Okay. So there's got to be 2 boys with R names. Robert and Ronald, so... Okay, so let's look up those 2 up. Nothing for Ronald. Let's look up. Nothing for Robert. See if we can find anything for any of them. I don't think we're gonna find any of them. Couldn't make it there in wishing well from Paris, Gwen and the boys. So he's definitely the older one. Alright, where is she on it? Is there anything else that could... Screenwriter? Okay, I'm kind of grasping at straws on that one. That's Eli. So where's Eli? Okay. Let's look up Angelica Roottrees. Oh no, let's look up Angelica Morden. Nothing. So I'm pretty sure that one is correct, and that one is correct now. Was he a lawyer like his dad? No. I think she said something about her brother Clancy. Company staying on Brent's friendly. I'm not even sure Clancy would have wanted it, but he's the one who was volunteered. Okay. Does she have any other information about Clancy? Uncle Junior's wedding to Patsy. Uncle Junior. So that would be Patsy. Which could be either one of them. Okay, so we got two that it could be. Eli, Miracle's youngest. There's another Eli. So that leaves us with two that it could be as well. Okay. Okay, that doesn't help us. I think we might have everything we need from this. Alright, just for shits and giggles, let's look up. No. Okay, so that doesn't get us anywhere. Did I look up Sam Roottrees? Yeah, nothing. Okay. So they all aspire to be musicians, artists, and dancers. So this whole generation is all museum artists, dancers. So maybe he's an artist? No, because he said Pop forced Clancy to send him to the academy. They all seem to pursue paths of knowledge. Alright, maybe if we just look up the book, maybe there'll be some information about that. Nope. Okay. We might be at an impasse here. So let's look up the two Patricias and see if we can narrow out one of them as being the Patsy. Aha! Okay, we got something here. Christian Steel Company. Old birth announcements about the candidate from the owner, Matthias Christensen. Vice President. Alright, let's look up Christensen Steel. Book review for Steamy Correspondence by Tina Angelina. Let's see if we can find that one. Letter from the book, okay. So we got something. Someone who goes by Patch, or a letter full of innuendo to an unknown gentleman who declared she had a romantic history. Nickname was Pat, and CH were the first two letters of her last name. Married to an older man of no notable status. And a daughter. Father of a child she hid from society in some way. Brother's twisted twin. So I'm gonna assume you go there then. Because it said there's like mystery with the child. And I'm gonna assume this is probably Sam. What? Hold on, let's look up Samantha Roottrees. Nothing, okay. I'm gonna put you there. So I have a feeling you have something to do with whatever the secret is. I'm gonna see if we can figure anything else out. Let me figure these. Let's go back to this. If we just look up that. Wait, advertising firm. That's what I got wrong. He's not a musician. He's advertising. Okay, so that one's right now. That one's right. So he's got something to do with film? Or student? Unless I've got them completely backwards. Media mogul? No. Director? Okay. I'm kind of grasping at straws. Let's go back to Carl. Ernie Jr. Who is Ernie Jr. though? Who do we have on here for Ernie Jr.? Madsen. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to 5 pieces. Let's look up Sarah Kossel just for shiz. No. Okay. Go back to her. Let's see if anything comes out of these. Clancy's lectures on the Middle Ages. Okay. So that implies that he's an educator. Oh, speaker? No. Professor. There we go. It was a matter of getting the picture right. So we got more locked in. So we got Clancy Jr., we got Clark Rafferty, and we got Jessica Rafferty LaRue. Okay. So I think we've been going for 3 hours. This is kind of like a little extra one. We've got a good chunk done. My brain power is getting limited. So let's back out of this. Oh. That's kind of neat. But I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here because I think we have enough that we can get another whole stream out of this. But my brain is also kind of dying and I really feel gross and want to take a shower and I'm tired. But we got pretty far though. Let's go back to this. Well, we got like a good chunk done. We still, like I said, we still have plenty left. Plus there's bonus content once we get everything done. But yeah. Let's go ahead and we'll find someone to raid. Next stream will probably be on Sunday because I do work the next 3 days. So I won't be around. I'll probably be wanting to crash out as soon as I get home. But we'll probably end up, sorry for the yawn, we'll probably end up just finishing this off and going into the bonus content. Unless something new comes out that catches my attention or if I feel like doing Pal World instead or something. But let us see who is on that we can raid. Let's see who is on. Okay. Let us. You know what? We haven't rated him for a while. I got 2 people that I could pick from. One that might be. He's been going for 3 hours. So he's probably ending soon. So let us go to. We're gonna go to Panda because I like Panda's music when we raid into him. But we're gonna go to Game Panda Plays. He's playing Pal World, and Pal World is kind of awesome. And he's a DM, and he's just all kinds of cool. So we're gonna go into him. But yeah, I will hopefully see you on the next stream on Sunday. And have fun with Panda. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Have fun with Panda and all that. Okay, bye.